Bagi yang suka melanggar peraturan parkir sembarangan akan dikenakan sanksi. Berdasarkan Perdana nomor 7 tahun 2008 tentang ketertiban umum serta Perdana nomor 3 tentang retribusi daerah.
Mobil gua hilang.
Hari gini masih parkir sembarangan. Amsyong.
Pada 2 Desember 2014, Smart Infrastructure Facility University of Unggah, Badan Penanggulangan Bencana Daerah Provinsi DKI Jakarta, dan Twitter meluncurkan peta jakarta.org untuk memetakan tweet di seluruh Jakarta guna membantu upaya penanggulangan banjir pada permulaan musim hujan. Fasilitas infrastruktur smart dari Universitas Unggah, Australia bekerjasama dengan Twitter Incorporation dan Badan
Basuki, Purnama, Gubernur Jakarta, Terkait, Perdana, Direktur PPB Jakarta, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. This is a great day for the Smart Infrastructure Facility at the University of Unggah. Mrs. Tanya Brown, our Chief Operating Officer, and I are proud and honored to be among you today. Last October, we received a delegation of 8 members from DPP Jakarta, Peta, and Unggah, and we agreed that it would be a great day if we could have a proper launch in Jakarta. I have to admit that this day was beyond my wildest expectations. So we are very grateful to the Governor of Jakarta and to the Director of PPB Jakarta for organizing this day. 1 year ago, no one would have thought that I would stand in front of you today and that the Governor of Jakarta himself would officially launch the Jakarta project very soon. No one would have thought so, except for 2 young and talented researchers from the Smart Infrastructure Facility at the University of Unggah. When you're young, you have no doubt, you have no fear. This is the beauty of youth. And Dr. Etienne Turpin and Dr. Tom Holderness have demonstrated Twitter with us here today, and alongside our technical team in Unggah who are still working on Peta Jakarta. This is only the start of our journey together, and I hope we will find relevant support to ensure that PPB Jakarta can appropriate the other agencies in Jakarta, Indonesia, and even beyond. And special days often require bold decisions. So, tertinggi tweet per orang di dunia, terutama selama periode krisis seperti banjir atau kebakaran. Yang kedua, proyek yang ini adalah di antara 6 proyek saja yang dapat mengakses data arsip dari Twitter. Yang ketiga, ini adalah satu-satunya proyek di dunia yang dapat menghubungi ribuan orang per hari dengan retweet teknologi. Proyek yang ini bukan hanya tentang menciptakan peta. Proyek ini adalah tentang menggunakan Twitter untuk tindakan di lapangan. Ketika ribuan atau jutaan warga ingin berbagi informasi dengan pemerintah di DKI Jakarta, Kota Jakarta tidak perlu sensor canggih dan mahal untuk menjadi kota pintar, smart city. Kami berharap bahwa proyek ini akan membantu Jakarta menjadi kota pintar pertama karena warga pintar di Jakarta. Proyek ini akan membantu BPPD mengambil keputusan yang lebih baik dan lebih cepat untuk menyelamatkan nyawa dan melindungi infrastruktur. Proyek ini juga akan membantu kalibrasi dan validasi model hidrologi di Jakarta. Akhirnya, proyek ini menawarkan teknologi dan metode yang dengan mudah dapat ditransfer menangani masalah lain seperti kebakaran atau insiden lalu lintas jalan. Bapak Gubernur, Pak Mamang, Bapak Bapaknya, Ibu-ibunya, terima kasih atas kehadiran.
Your Excellency, Bapak Basuki, Purnama, Governor of Jakarta, Pak Perdana, Director of Jakarta, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon all. I lead data partnerships with universities, nonprofits, and NGOs. My charter is one of innovation. Twitter's VP of Data Strategy, Chris Moody, likes to say that Twitter data has unlimited value and near limitless application. My job at Twitter is to push the boundaries of that applications to new borders. And it gives me great honor to be speaking here today at this event. I come here enthusiastic at the opportunity to lend support for the Peta Jakarta launch. And I come here inspired by the innovation of the Peta Jakarta team and their partnership with one of the incredible things about visiting Indonesia is seeing how Twitter has been woven into the fabric of the culture here. Whether it's tweeting about the recent presidential elections, where we saw over 95 million tweets related to the election, or the nearly 43 million tweets related to the holy month of Ramadan. Indonesia is finding innovative ways to use Twitter, and Twitter is excited to open its office doors here to connect closer with the people. However, nothing has us more excited at this moment than the opportunity to connect to the people of Jakarta through the Peta Jakarta platform. This all began for Twitter about 9 months ago when we reached out to the research community and asked them to submit proposals on what big questions they would tackle if they had the opportunity to access every public tweet. It was our first test of that near limitless application that Moody describes, and we called the pilot program Twitter Data Grants. 7 months ago, we announced the awardees of the program, with Peta Jakarta being one of the 6. From the Data Grants Award, the Peta Jakarta team analyzed over 8 million tweets related to flooding over the last 2 monsoon seasons. They created a geospatial model that identified past flooding events, and the results of that model showed that by combining the BPPP's Jakarta's current methods with Twitter data, flood monitoring and detection could be improved. Now, these current methods, now with this launch, the Peta Jakarta team is partnering with BPPP Jakarta to use that model in concert with their current methods to help dispatch emergency teams when flood emergencies are identified. This launch is truly the first of its kind. Much has been said about the power of Twitter as a communication platform, and I want to talk a minute about the power of Twitter data. Twitter data provides the lens into what the world is thinking at any given moment for just about any given topic. It enables the ability to answer powerful enterprise business questions like, what do my customers think about my new product? Or why am I growing so fast in Brazil? But I think more importantly, it can also answer potential societal questions like, how do I track foodborne illness? And then how do I limit the spread of contaminated food? Or to answer questions like, how do I identify disaster events? And what resources do I need to respond to that event? With the last question being exactly what the Peta Jakarta project is about. As the head of the academic data partnerships, I see a future where Twitter data will be advancing fields in health and medicine, economics and business, law and policy, social sciences, and beyond. I see a future where Twitter data will be foundational in building of smarter cities, instrumental in improving public health, and propellant to the frontier of human knowledge. The Peta Jakarta project and the launch today embodies that vision of the future. From the moment the team came across the Peta Jakarta proposal, we became excited. We became excited because we were empowering the people to play an active role in improving public safety. We became excited because there's a real opportunity to improve urban planning within Jakarta and use that as a model for the rest of the world. But most importantly, we were excited about the opportunity to play a part in improving the lives of millions of people in Jakarta. In closing, I want to thank Your Excellency Bapak Basuki Purnama and Pak Perdana for being here. I also want to thank the DPPD for their support and partnership. I want to thank the University of Unggah and the Smart Facility for their vision. I want to thank the Peta Jakarta research team for their ingenuity and hard work. And I also want to thank the citizens of Jakarta for their innovation. It's truly an inspiration to be here.
Ini saya merangkumkan semuanya. Mr. Mark Gillis mengatakan bahwa Twitter mempunyai nilai lebih dari bukan hanya sekedar platform untuk komunikasi masyarakat, namun juga dapat dimanfaatkan dalam bentuk-bentuk lainnya yang berguna, seperti misalnya public safety, seperti misalnya penanganan banjir. Twitter sangat berbangga sekali dan sangat takjub melihat bagaimana masyarakat Indonesia memanfaatkan Twitter untuk saling berkomunikasi di antara
Your Excellency Bapak Basuki Purnama, Gubernur JKT Jakarta, Bapak Perdana, Director PPP Jakarta, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor for us to be here today. The question I'm sure you're all thinking is why use Twitter to address the challenge of flooding in Jakarta. Can we have the next slide, please? The number of Twitter users anywhere in the world, in any city. Through the Twitter Data Grants program with our colleagues at Twitter, we see that in the last 2 monsoon seasons, there were over 8 million tweets from people in Jakarta talking about the flood, tweeting banjir. And the tweets cover the full extent of Jakarta. So the challenge is how do we use this information for the people, and how do we use this information for the government to get some relevant knowledge so that we can respond better to the challenge of flooding in the city. Next slide. Working with BPGD from the Smart Infrastructure Facility, University of Wollongong, we've created a free open source software platform to take and use the knowledge of the citizens of Jakarta reporting about flooding in real time. And the system does 2 things. The system works for the people on the ground. So when you're in Jakarta, you have your cell phone, visit jakarta.org, you see the tweets around you. Should I go this way? Is it flooded? What's the situation? But on a computer, you see the information BPPD sees. The heat map, the intensity of flooding across the city in real time, so that we can be proactive in our response, and we can contribute and help the government understand where the flooding is happening. So it's one system that works for the people and for the government, but the key innovative solution we have here is working with our great friends from Twitter. We can send you all tweets saying, is it flooded? Are you experiencing flooding? Tell us. Take a selfie. Report to us that flooding is happening. So now we'll show you a short video that explains how the system works.
Sebuah perangkat baru yang mengintegrasikan pemetaan dan penyebaran informasi mengenai banjir di Kota Jakarta. Pemetaan banjir berbasis komunitas ini sangat mudah diakses dan memberikan informasi tentang kondisi banjir di Jakarta secara langsung. Kami sadar bahwa penduduk Jakarta memiliki informasi berharga mengenai kondisi banjir yang terjadi. Kicauan Anda di Twitter membantu orang-orang untuk menghindari bahaya yang terjadi di sekitar. Peta Jakarta menggunakan informasi tersebut untuk menyediakan peta lokasi banjir yang komprehensif. Saat Anda mengetahui informasi tentang banjir, tweet ke @petajakarta dengan tanda pagar banjir sehingga laporan Anda akan muncul pada peta. Jangan lupa, aktifkan geolokasi pada telepon genggam Anda sehingga posisi laporan Anda dapat ditampilkan dengan akurat. Semakin banyak orang yang menggunakan peta Jakarta, semakin tepat dan lengkap informasi pada peta. Mari bekerja sama untuk saling membantu dalam menghindari area banjir agar dapat menghemat waktu dan menghindari bahaya. Untuk memulai, silakan kunjungi petajakarta.org.
Your
Excellency Bapak Basuki Cahaya Purnama, Governor of DKI Jakarta, and Pak Bambang Mushawara Ghana, Director of BPPD Jakarta, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, what you just saw was a video that will be spammed to your Twitter account. If you discuss Banjir over the next monsoon, we will send you that video as a reminder that it is now your civic responsibility to report flood conditions to both each other and to the government to help in their response. What you see on the screen is one example tweet from 10 days ago when we already had a bit of Banjir. You can see that it's sent to @Peta Jakarta via an orangutan. And even an orangutan can use the system. By using the word @Peta JKT and the keyword Banjir and indicating the geolocation, we put the tweet on the map. This allows every citizen of Jakarta with access to the internet to participate in the management of flooding in the city. Next slide, please. Here we see the incident control room of BPPD DKI Jakarta. By working with our courageous and innovative partners at BPPD and alongside Twitter, here seeing Mark Gillis, quite interested in the operations of the organization, we can, for the first time ever, through a three-way partnership between academia, industry, and government, respond to the challenge of climate change. As many of you will know from living in Jakarta, the patterns of the flood have changed. The Banjir is not as predictable as it used to be, and the precipitation which causes it is becoming more intense. The only way to respond to this problem is to put out sensors into the city, to increase the number of sensors to understand when it's flooding. And there is one brilliant sensor, a human being. And by allowing every citizen in Jakarta to use their mobile device as a sensor for the Banjir, we can create a real-time map for you to navigate and for BPPD to respond. This is an exemplary case of data for the social good. Next slide. You can see here from about 10 days ago, one of the examples where we begin to see alongside the Ciliwung River, the areas along the east side of the Ciliwung beginning to flood. As we can calculate those reports and aggregate them with BPPD, their ability to respond, the effectiveness of their decision making, and the ability to save lives increases. I ask you today to take your phone out of your pocket, to follow Peta Jakarta, to retweet our messages to your followers, and to help address the problem of flooding in Jakarta together. Next slide, please. It's a very simple process. Tweet @Peta Jakarta, activate your geolocation, put your report in, and send your tweet. It will appear on the map and allow your fellow citizens and the members of BPPD Jakarta to respond effectively and with better information. I think as we imagine this partnership continuing, I like to think that when we're living in the smart city of Jakarta, we'll look back at this idea and say it was only the beginning of a collaboration between the citizens, the government, industry, and of course, we have to remember that one of the key aspects of this project is that you need to send your tweets. We're going to remind you for the rest of the monsoon, but I think there's no better person to remind you of the importance of this than our next speaker. So we'll step off the stage right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Anton Topin. Kan di petajakarta.org. Dari situlah masyarakat bisa melihat daerah-daerah mana yang terkena dampak banjir. Dengan demikiannya, dari apa yang dilakukan oleh teman-teman dari Smart Infrastructure University of London dengan menggunakan kumpul, itu adalah secara live. Tidak ada halangan ataupun batasan-batasan. Jadi
yang saya hormati Bapak Profesor Pascal Perez, yang saya hormati juga dari University of Unggah, Rekam, Thomas, dan Penyiapan, yang saya hormati Excellency Director of Academic Partnership Twitter, Mr. Mark Kiris, and the gang, and many. Kepala BPPD, Pak Bambang, PRT di Kota Peta, Pak Dinasnya banyak juga nih, Pak Rejo, bagian kebakaran, Pak Nanda, Taman, seluruh pejabat yang hadir, teman-teman media, selamat sore, kami datang ke semua. Because there are too many Indonesian, so I prefer speak Indonesia. So if you could understand, your friend translate for you. Ya, terima kasih. Tentu kami sangat senang dikasih Pak Bambang juga dari dapat dua Bambang ini. Pak Agus also is our IT department. Kami sangat terima kasih. Ini melengkapi smart city kami. Ya, kita lagi mendorong. Kita sudah kerjasama dengan us.com, Google. Kita sudah punya map Google. Jadi hasil tweet ini, Pak Agus, kita akan masukkan ke dalam map yang mainstream kami yang Google. Kami juga akan menggerakkan RT RW kami. Jadi nanti RT RW itu tidak dikasih uang operasional. Most of you could speak Indonesia, no? Couldn't speak. Okay, I speak in English. Yeah, first we really very appreciate for this cooperation and help from University of Unggah. For us, it's very important because Jakarta is for 10 million people, and most of them live under the sea level. Almost 40%, you know, better than me. That's why we already have a cooperation with a Google company like a West.com, and this Twitter is one of the part of connecting to us. We have, it's a community head, we call it Ketua RT. I think one Ketua RT control 30 household, 30 atau 40 rumah. Satu RT, 50 ya, Jakarta 50 house is one Ketua RT, and berapa RT satu RW itu? 9 atau 6? 10, 15. And 10 RT is controlled by one Ketua RW. RW is the RW, we call RW. RW. RT is RT. So one RT control 10 house or under 15 house, and each RT 10 or 15 are controlled by one RW, because RW. So we already make a policy. We don't give our RT or RW a salary. We pay them for the amount of Twitter or report from their smartphone. and we prefer Android system. And you know why Android? Because the cheapest smartphone is made in China and Android. The cheapest. Most of the cheapest. This smartphone is made in China and all is Android. That's why no excuse for them don't have a cell phone. That's why they could provide us. So if we could do this well, this is good for us to improve the quality of life of the people. Like a Ciliwung River, when you look at the flood area, Ciliwung River, we have to accomplish this normalization until 2016. But the problem is we have to make a big resettlement, more than 50,000 households. That's another problem. That's why we keep doing our best to provide this low-cost apartment for make this big resettlement. And we believe people like using Twitter will make our Lura above airway because it's a Lura, how to say it? This is sub-district chief. Yeah, it's a Lura. So we also have a new policy. If the Lura could not report to us, don't know what happened in their sub-district area, we fire them. Very easy. We just make them grounded. Yeah, we have usually staff. And above the Lura is, we have a district head, we call Camat. Above Camat, we have a mayor. National capital, like Jakarta, we have a different with another province. Another province, a governor, very difficult to control the mayor and the region. Because mayor and region also direct elected by the people. But in Jakarta, very different. Mayor and region is appointed by governor. Even the vice governor now appointed by the governor. And that's why we could control until Lura, RW, RT. So we hope what you already provide to us will become useful when many east of RT want to tweet. I hope minimum one day 3 times tweet. If we are doing 3 times, use a theory, we will get the full coverage of the whole Jakarta. And we hope the Jakarta resident will also like to doing this. Even we know some of them curse us, get angry to us, have many things. This transparency system will make us as a government official really have to have your sincere heart to service others. We're not talking about the position because every time, every second, people will get angry, will blame you, everything like that. When you read that, you have to make your heart strong for that because this is sometimes this is a democracy. That's why I like to make a joke to my friends, to my colleagues. In Jakarta, it's very easy to be a governor. More easy to be a mayor in my hometown. I was a mayor before. Why? Because Jakarta, 10 people above, 8 of them above my education. In my hometown, 8 of them under my education. That's why Jakarta, you don't need to exercise your brain. Too many smart people. You just exercise your muscle. Your heart muscle, your nerve, and you could run. This is like just a joke for this afternoon. Once again, thank you very much for this cooperation. We really believe Jakarta will be the first smart city in Indonesia. We already have most of the area is connected by the fiber optic. And this December, one of the providers will launch a 4G technology. And we will put many CCTV. Now in Jakarta, not only you could see what happened, we also work with Google. It's a street view. You could look at the street view. We already make a cooperation with them. So we could control all the city. We will add until 2016 more 3,000 CCTV. Put identify face and identify the number. 3,000. The whole main road in the city. Now we already have, I think it's worth more than 1,700, but not in a good resolution. That's what we really hope we could make many cooperation again for improving the quality of life for the Jakarta people. Once again, thank you very much, Professor.
Bisa dilihat bahwa tweet dari Pak Ahok, Pak Basuki sudah masuk di akun Twitter resminya @basuki_bpp. Tulisannya adalah Pak @jokowi_dodo, maksudnya Bapak Presiden. Banjir Jakarta, bantu tweet ke @peta_jakarta_banjir. Follow BPBD. Cek petajakarta.org dan follow BPBD Jakarta.
Ini yang asli Twitter buat yang lain
Pak Basuki dengan Mr. Margelis, dengan Mr. Eten dan Mr. Thomas.
Terima kasih atas kehadirannya dan penghatian warga Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.